Hashem na'aseh v'natzliach. Shiur Torah, Bruchim Abayim, all the online fans, Baruch Hashem. We are back here on our Sunday night program to continue our series, Jewish HaShkafa, the Jewish ideology based on a Sefer by the Chazon Ish, Alav Shalom. Today's shiur was sponsored for the Refuah Shlema for Olivia Bat Almas. Kadosh Baruch Hu give a refuah shlema, refuat nefesh, refuat guf, give a lot of success to her children, Be'ezrat Hashem, and give them an extraordinary siyata dishmaya to get away from this big sakana that they're in right now with the cancer, Hashem Yishmor. So Be'ezrat Hashem, Kadosh Baruch Hu give them refuah shlema. Also, a refuah shlema for for our dear friend Rav Avraham ben Zion ben Fega bat Aviva, and his dear wife Sheina Chana bat Rezel, Rav Ephraim ben Shulamit, Rabbanit Sarah bat Anat, Rabbanit Levana bat Sarah, Yitro ben Avraham, Talia bat Sarah, Orit bat Ilana, Batya bat Sarah, Serach bat Batya, Michal bat Yael, Stefan ben Katarina, Jonas ben Sherry Haley, and also a Oshri ben Doris Refuah Shlema, for him and his whole family, David ben Esriya, Doris bat Jora, Sarah bat Levana, and also for a Atzlacha Rabba for Marsha bat Julie, and her dear daughter Ayla bat Marsha, Shaul ben Farzane, Oshri ben Doris, Gabi ben Doris, Elad ben Doris, David ben Esriya, and a Zot Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu give a special blessing for a Zeral Shel Kaima to Ital bat Leviya and Yitzchak ben Tikva. הקדוש ברוך הוא יברך אותם בכל מכל כל, חיים ארוכים, שלמים, מלאים תורה, מצוות, גמילות חסדים, נחת, זאת השם. And to all of our dear partners, all of our dear students, all of our dear friends, Baruch Hashem, הקדוש ברוך הוא give each and every single one of you a lot of bracha, a lot of הצלחה, a refuah shlema, and a clarity in all of the good things that you do, B'ezrat Hashem. So we have, Baruch Hashem, just a few brief updates before we start the shiur. For anyone that's wondering updates, or perhaps just doesn't know what's going on, hasn't been following the shiurim, so we have a couple of big things going on, Baruch Hashem, right now. We're still looking for space for our organization to start giving the shiurim, but I think we're one step closer. We found a place. Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll see this coming week, Be'ezrat Hashem, if it's a go or not. Either way, Be'ezrat Hashem will continue the shiurim as we're doing right now. So that's one. Second thing is in regards to the giveaway that we have on Rav Ephraim's Kuntresim. We're giving out right now is a distribution of 30,000 books, 30,000 of his Kuntresim in Eretz Yisrael. We have Baruch Hashem, a pretty decent sized team, about 25 or 30 different people that have volunteered to give away the books in their communities all over Eretz Yisrael. These are three amazing books. One of them is answers the big questions that people have today. Number one is Ocheach Tochech et Amitecha, the mitzvah of rebuking. Is it relevant today? Is it not? Of course, Rabbi Ephraim brings countless sources to show how it's not only an obligation and it's relevant to today, but it's deoraita. It's a biblical obligation, more relevant today than any other time before. This is available for anyone to download off of our website for free. It's in Hebrew, of course, but anyone that has a good knowledge of the Hebrew language can download it at our website, BeEzratHashem.org. Also, the second kuntres is, where was God during the Holocaust? A lot of people have this question. I even had somebody call me the other day telling me that he met an Israeli guy that used to be religious but then gave up religion because he couldn't understand where was God during the Holocaust. To be honest with you, this is a very sad scenario, because had he met us a day before he decided to drop everything off, he would have never left the derech. But unfortunately, he's gotten to a point where he doesn't even want to talk. So that's really what happens sometimes. People get their questions not answered, or perhaps answered inappropriately, like "I don't know" or "Who knows" types of answers, when the Torah clearly tells us why and who and what Hashem does everything. And the things that we don't know about are not necessarily relevant to our lives, and nor do we need to know them. Everything that we need to know, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the answers in the Torah. So the answer of where was God during the Holocaust is very simple. What do you mean, where was he? He's the one that did it. And Rabbi Ephraim, after many years of toiling in the Torah and reviewing the psukim very closely, literally looked at the psukim and showed exactly where this and this and this and this and this and every single thing in these psukim and these verses happened in the Holocaust. Many times the books that are written about this topic they see what happened in the Holocaust and they find a pasuk that fits it. Ephraim did it the opposite way. He saw what HaKadosh Baruch Hu said that he would do if certain things happened, and then he saw that this is exactly what happened in the Holocaust. It's an unbelievable sefer, and part of a work that's will be even extended further over the years, but this is something that works for many years. So this is one of the kuntrasim. BeEzrat Hashem, over time, will also translate these to English, but for now it's only in Hebrew. The third one is Ochachot, Kuntras Ochachot, which is a book of proofs, logical and scientific proofs that God not only runs the world, but he's the one that gave us the Torah, and no other book. There is no Christianity that's valid. There is no form of it that's valid. There is no form of Islam that's valid. Hashem did not give mankind the Quran or the New Testament or any of these other books that people have, or philosophies like Buddhism, and he brings this with one proof after another. So these three kuntrasim are being distributed for free all over Eretz Yisrael, in Yerushalayim, in Tel Aviv, in Tel Zion, in Netanya, all over the place. Baruch Hashem, we found different people that are willing to distribute them, and anyone that lives in Eretz HaKodesh, lives in Eretz Yisrael, and wants to take on to distribute these, anywhere from 100 to 200 of each, relatively fast, within a day or two, please contact me on my WhatsApp, and BeEzrat Hashem, give me your address, and we'll be happy to send them all the way to your house. You can distribute them in your community. So that's the second thing. This is already happening. We're pretty much almost out of them, but meaning they're almost all spoken for, but there's still some left, a few thousand left perhaps. Third thing is that the girls' seminary, Baruch Hashem, kicked off last week with the meeting of the teachers and the volunteers. Today, though, was the first session and event with the girls. We had, Baruch Hashem, a decent turnout, where it was a little bit of a maaseh satan, where this rasha, which we'll talk about momentarily, got in the way and hurt almost half of the attendance, caused them not to come. But Baruch Hashem was still a decent sized event, and Wednesday we're going to have a second event. We're expecting anywhere from minimum 200 to 450 girls. So this is 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. So it's a pretty decent size event. We have to do them in a unique way, where because of the coronavirus and the rules in Eretz Yisrael, the problem is that the law of the land is not allowing us to have the lectures the way we want them to, because of the danger or the proposed danger. So what we've set up is mamash unbelievable siyata dishmaya, where Rabbi Alimi, the one that's heading it, him and his dear wife, the Rabbanit, had this idea where they're going to make rooms. So we have this space, and it has half a dozen or so different rooms. And what they set up is they have the speaker in one place in front of one particular audience, But then it's we have a screen in the different rooms showing exactly what he's saying and with speakers and everything else. Just like if you would at an event where you see you're far away from the event and you can't really see the person, but they show you a big screen. Same concept. So they have this in 5 different rooms, Baruch Hashem, so everybody feels like the speaker is right next to them and they're able to sit there and be part of this event. So this we're going to have, BeEzrat Hashem, again, we had today an event, Rabbi Ephraim, our own dear Rabbi Ephraim spoke at it today, and then next week, next Wednesday coming up, we'll have another event, BeEzrat Hashem. Anyone that wants to contribute to those to that seminary is more than welcome to donate on our website, BeEzratHashem.org. The shiurim, all of the lectures that they're going to have, they're all being videotaped and they're going to be uploaded to our BeEzrat Hashem channel. Not my channel, not my YouTube channel, not Rabbi Ephraim's channel, but rather the BeEzrat Hashem channel. So you'll see it, BeEzrat Hashem, the first one will probably be uploaded tomorrow, and then another one, usually it's going to be a couple a week, that are going to be uploaded with different guest rabbis. Of course, again, everything is going to be in Hebrew. For anyone that's a Hebrew speaker, we're going to have different well-known rabbis and mezakei rabim that are going to be speaking to these young girls to give them some chizuk. So that's the second thing. Third thing is the 1,000 people taking on Shabbat. That campaign is still going. Anyone that is not keeping Shabbat right now, is a Jew, is not keeping on Shabbat and wants to get not only a lot of schar from Shamayim for keeping Shabbat, but also wants special prayers to be made for him or for her during Chanukah, where we're sending one or two of our tzaddikim to the Kotel HaMa'aravi, to the Western Wall, to pray for these people. Sign up to this list, take on Shabbat permanently, not just one time and not 5 minutes. Take on Shabbat seriously, and BeEzrat Hashem, give us your name, and we'll have them pray for you for all of the salvation, the blessings, and everything else that comes with it. So far, we have somewhere in the neighborhood of about 400. Baruch Hashem, 400 people, 400 new people, Shomrei Shabbat, over the last week and a half. Unbelievable. Baruch Hashem. I'm sure this is giving a lot of nachat to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hence the reason why there's a lot of different tests right now from the Satan, as he's not happy about the work that Baruch Hashem we're doing. Last but not least, BeEzrat Hashem, tomorrow is going to be a new video being released about an update of our campaign, our coronavirus campaign. We're still raising money for it. We're still distributing money for it. As I told you just a week and a half ago, we sent some more money to Eretz Yisrael, because now that winter has arrived, it's freezing, and the situation is now deteriorating between the coronavirus, the money issues, and everything else. The people that are struggling are now struggling a new struggle. What? They're freezing cold, because the kids are growing, but the clothes stay the same. And unfortunately, many of them, you'll see in the video, it mamash will break your heart. But it's good to have your heart broken a little bit. Maybe it'll break your pocket too, to understand why, number one, you live in Baruch Hashem such an amazing way, and why you can actually help some of these people by donating to the campaign. And it all goes to them. Nothing goes to me, nothing goes to Rabbi Ephraim, nothing goes to any employees, there's no middleman. This is net 100% to help people. And right now we've gotten to the point where we're not only buying them clothes, not only buying them food, but buying them clothes. So we already started buying them. They don't even, many of them don't even have umbrellas. And you'll see the pictures in the video. I mean, I saw it today, I wanted to cry. It's just, you see the house they live in. You see the walls are peeling. You see the windows are broken. And they don't have the money to fix it. So, Baruch Hashem, we're doing our best to help as many as we can. But as I'm sure you'll realize, nothing's ever enough. There's nothing ever enough. There's a lot of help that's needed. We're trying to do it, the basics right away, which is clothes. And then if we can, possibly, we'll try to do some other stuff too. BeEzrat Hashem, we're evaluating a case-by-case basis. So this campaign is still going on. Anyone that wants to contribute to it is more than welcome to. So you have 4 different things. Last but not least, we have an enormous campaign that Baruch Hashem has helped a lot of people, which is the Tikkun BeIT CD. The Tikkun BeIT CD is something that is really all of the lectures about Tikkun BeIT have helped more people than any other subject we've spoken about over the last 6 or 7 years. And we've already given out hundreds of thousands of copies for free. The lectures have been viewed hundreds of thousands of times, and we are giving out USBs and so on. But the key is we need to do more. We need to do a lot more, and we're going to do another run of CDs. We're going to print out another run of CDs. Anyone that wants to contribute to that, this is not only good for the sake of MUSSAR money and staka, but also for tikkun BEIT itself. Anyone that has wasted seed, was promiscuous, was involved in intermarriage, tikkun goya, any of those different immorality issues that everybody's trying to do tshuva for, this is the ticket. This is the way to do it in English. In Hebrew, there are several organizations that are involved. In English, you're stuck with me. I'm pretty much the only one that talks about it on a regular basis. Baruch Hashem, it's not necessarily a bad thing. But the point is that these CDs work. These lectures work. And then when people ask me, how come you're printing CDs still? Why not only USBs? And I've explained this many times, but for shorthand of it is this. Even if people do not have a CD player, we still want to give them a CD. Why? Because a CD, at the worst case scenario, is a fantastic flyer. That's really what it is. If they have a CD player and they have a DVD player, they'll watch it and they'll see it and so on. But even if they don't, they're not going to throw it out like they would a piece of paper. So they'll see it, they like the cover, we have some fantastic designers on our team, we design it, and we have it in a way where it's presentable and everyone that looks at it wants to see what is in it. So when they see they don't have a CD player, what do? They look up the name, they get to our app, they get to YouTube, they get to our website, one of the many avenues that you have reaching these lectures and reaching our lectures, and they start watching it, and that's as good as it can be. Whether they watch it from the CD, the DVD, the app, the website, YouTube, telepathy, doesn't make a difference. Point is, we just need them to get it. So we're trying to print out a lot more. But we're going to try to print out at least another million copies. So this obviously needs to some sponsors. Anyone that wants to sponsor a serious amount and has the financial ability to do it, wants to do something special, you can always contact us and let us know. So with that being said, we have, Baruch Hashem, a few other things in the works, but I'll leave that for later on, not to overwhelm you with surprises. There's definitely one very, very, very big surprise coming up, probably in the next month or two, but that will leave you in suspense. This is, if anyone that thought that my movie about my personal life was a big hit, wait and see the next one. The next one that's coming out, BeEzrat Hashem Yishtabach Shemo La'ad, is going to break the internet, and it's going to do a lot of good for the world, BeEzrat Hashem. There's been a lot of work behind it, and BeEzrat Hashem, this is coming soon. So, with that being said, in order to do all of these projects, in order to, without knowing where is the money going to come from, who's going to watch it, why will they, all these different questions are all answered in this series, which is the Jewish HaShkafa, the Jewish ideology, which its foundation, the foundation of Jewish ideology, and the highest level of giving a Kadosh Baruch Hu kavod, honor, is by having Bitachon in him. There's no other way to show Hashem kavod. There's no other way to show him kavod as great as by having Bitachon in him. Because you can say you love me, you can say you like me, you can say whatever you want. But if you don't trust me, then what does it all mean at the end? And that's in essence what HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Am Yisrael many times throughout their 40 years in the desert, is he gives them tests, they fail, Hashem gives them another test, they fail. 10 times Am Yisrael failed in the desert, and that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu, how many more times aside from these 10 times are they going to test me? What test? The test of Bitachon. We didn't think that Hashem was going to give us food, he gave us the manna. We didn't think that Hashem was going to give us water, he gave us the water. He gave us a whole river that followed us for 40 years. We didn't think he's going to do a lot of things for us, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it. And in essence, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was offended that we didn't have enough trust in him to know that if you already took us out of Egypt, if you already created us to begin with, you made us a chosen people, you took us out of Egypt with all these wonderful miracles, you gave us the Torah, what, you're just going to starve us to death? And that's not necessarily such a different question from what a person needs to ask himself today. When he or she is struggling with different sicknesses, financial issues, relationship issues, all types of issues, and they're starting to lose steam, they're starting to lose hope, they're starting to really become depressed and not know where could I go, what should I do. Ask yourself a question. Do you believe in God? Do you believe in God? I'm not saying you believe in God that He created the world. Thank you very much for believing that. You're officially not a monkey. I'm talking about, you believe that God actually created the world and also created you in it. Not just everybody else, but you. So if He created you, obviously He cares about you. And obviously He wants you to do certain things in order for you to succeed in life. Now, of course, maybe you feel like you were born with two left legs, and you feel like your whole luck is just simply disappeared. It's extinct with the dinosaurs. Perhaps you think that your whole life is over because something bad really happened. The reality is that you have to ask yourself, do you think God knows about this? Obviously, the answer is yes. So if He knows about this, and at the same time He's the one that created you, and He created you because He wants you to succeed, He wants you to do good, then you have to ask yourself, what am I supposed to learn from this experience? What am I supposed to do in order to overcome this? And that's one of the biggest questions that a person has to ask themselves, because the tests are going to keep coming. Even after you pass this one, even after you get your next batch of miracles, you're going to have other tests. You're going to have other difficulties. And as long as you don't answer these questions, and as long as you don't develop real Bitachon in Hashem, your life is simply going to be miserable. It's going to be a life that's simply full of questions and no answers. Full of crying and no one to help you with anything. Why? Because you are causing yourself this suffering by not delving into the real question of, what does Hashem want me to do in this world? Not why is He giving me this test, but what? What is the point of this test? What am I supposed to be doing in order to overcome this test? Because maybe a person could be born with a situation that he can't really fix. You can say, listen, if you lost some money, eventually maybe Hashem could decide to give it back to you. If you lost a loved one, maybe Hashem will find you a different loved one. If you had all types of difficulties, usually these things are repairable. But there are some things that are not repairable. There are some things that are simply, this is it. You were born with one less leg than everybody else. You were born with some type of mental incapacity. You were born with some type of disease, Hashem Yishmor. You have a disease. Whatever the case may be, sometimes these situations, these tests are permanent. Does that mean that Hashem wants you to just simply suffer and be miserable and depressed until you die? Surely you don't think that low of Hashem. Surely you understand that Hashem wants good for you, even despite this situation that you're in. So that means that you, just like everybody else, has to ask this question and have to find an answer for it. Now, over the last several months, the Chazon Ish has given us an extraordinary insight, an extraordinary hand-holding procedure, if you will, hand-holding journey, actually better said, of walking us towards the journey of acquiring Bitachon, by first understanding what it is that we're trying to acquire, and not just some word that we can just plaster all over the internet and tell people we have. Some people will say, oh yeah, maybe I have Bitachon today because good things are happening to me, so I'll buy Bitachon.com. Having Bitachon.com doesn't give you Bitachon. Telling people you have Bitachon doesn't give you Bitachon. Telling people that you have a new movement called Emunah.com is not going to give you Emunah. Because these things are acquired. They're acquired through the Torah HaKadoshah, but through a specific way. Well, first and foremost, we have to know what they are. Briefly, Emunah is something that is a clear understanding that Hashem runs the world. And the Chazon Ish clearly tells us the only way to truly acknowledge that Hashem runs the world is by doing His will, mainly acquiring good character traits and removing any bad character traits that we have. If you're a stingy person, if you're an arrogant person, if you have all types of bad character traits, and every one of us has weaknesses, those things are things you need to work on removing. At the same time, you have to acquire good ones. You have to become more generous, you have to become more happy, you have to become more honest, and so on and so forth. So by acquiring good character traits and eliminating the bad ones, we are now doing the will of the Creator, which in essence is showing that we believe in Hashem. Not just saying we believe in Hashem, but showing we believe in Hashem. After that, a person that has emunah can now graduate to the next level and start going for Bitachon. Bitachon is confidence in Hashem, not only understanding that Hashem runs the world, but rather He runs the world including my life. Not like the Greeks thought, the Greeks, we have Hanukkah coming up. The Greeks did not try to kill Jews, they tried to kill Judaism. How? By destroying our mitzvot, by destroying our connection to the Creator, by destroying our connection to His holy Torah. And these Greeks, what did they believe? They believed in a Creator. They weren't atheists like today's ignorant people. They believed in a Creator. But they said the Creator, whatever name you want to give Him, no problem. This Creator, He created the world, but He's too big for this world. He left. He went somewhere else. He went somewhere else. And that's unfortunately a very common belief that people have today without even knowing it. Because they give all of their belief in a person, in an institution, in money, in a relationship, and sometimes even in a rabbi. Just today I saw a video, I wanted to cry. Unfortunately, this nonsense continues where you have people making videos telling people to practically pray to the rabbi. There's nothing worse than that. You've simply taken one of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's holy soldiers and turned them into an idol. This is Christianity. This is Christianity. The only difference is that Imach Shemo B'zicho, Yoshke, was not a soldier of Hashem, was a Rasha Mevusha womanizer. But here you have tzaddikim. Tzaddikim are being turned into idols, and people are making all types of videos, cartoons, and otherwise, pretty much telling people, listen, whatever you want, pray to the Rebbe, pray to this Rebbe, pray to that Rebbe. What pray to the Rebbe? Pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And any time they say, wait, but the Gemara says that some of the tzaddikim went to the grave sites. Yes, they went to the grave site and they said, I pray to Hashem in the merit of the tzaddik. In the merit of the tzaddik, please help me. Not I'm praying to the Rebbe, or I'm praying to that Rebbe or any Rebbe. People are literally so ignorant today that they don't know left and right. And I'm not even talking about the regular people. I'm talking about the rabbis. I'm talking about the people that are making these stupid videos that are literally causing Am Yisrael to serve idols, even though those idols were kosher people. So you have to understand, emunah and bitachon is not something that you can just acquire in a deli. Emunah and bitachon is clarity of mind, of knowing what they are. First, you have to know that you only pray to the Creator. You don't pray to anybody else. You can think your rabbi is Mashiach, you can think your rabbi is whatever you want. You still can't pray to him. There is no middleman. You cannot pray to anybody. You pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You want to pray in the merit of the Rebbe, in the merit of this Rebbe, in the merit of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, or Rabbi Meir Bar Haness, or the Lubavitcher Rebbe, or the Baal Shem Tov, whoever you want. No problem. Their merits are fantastic. Good. If you're going to learn that Torah, surely they may want to give you some of their merits. And maybe help you get some of these prayers answered. But to pray to the Rebbe, that's 100% idol worship. Idol worship. The Tanya, the Baal Tanya never said such things. The Baal Shem Tov never said such things. None of the Chassidut ever said such things. This is modern idol worship. This is modern day idol worship. Why? It's a result of ignorance. Ignorance of people, ignorance of the crowd, and unfortunately, like Rabbi Yeshayahu Pinto said, a generation of rabbis that are tinokot shenishba. It's not the generation that's tinokot shenishba, it's the rabbis that are tinokot shenishba. The rabbis don't know what they're talking about. They're like captured babies, allowing these videos to go ahead on the internet. So you have to understand, Bitachon and Hashem is confidence that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that's running the world, including your life. Now, what does it mean to have confidence in Him? Does it have confidence in Him that if I have confidence, everything good's going to happen? Absolutely not. Bad things do happen. Bad things happen, or at least they're perceived as bad, because we only have a one-dimensional perspective of it. Our perspective. We see what's in front of us. We don't see what's behind the wall. We don't see all of the other facets of the diamonds that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has. We see just simply what's in front of us. So the Chazon Ish HaKadosh tells us, Bitachon in Hashem is not believing that only good things are going to happen and therefore good things are going to happen. That's mumbo jumbo. What Bitachon is a clarity of mind, who the Creator is, and that whatever this Creator is going to give you is the best possible option for you. It may not be the best possible option for Sunny. It may not be the best possible option for Batya. It may not be the best possible option for Levana or for Yosef or for Vadia or for anybody else. But for you, out of all of the choices that are available in the universe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu controls, this option is the best available to you. So having the confidence in Hashem means that, thank you HaKadosh Baruch Hu for giving me pain today. Why? Because I know that out of all of the choices in the world, out of all of the choices in the world that are available, maybe the pain was not good for Levana. It wasn't good for Ovadia. It wasn't good for this one. It wasn't good for that one. But for me, it was the best thing. Why? Only you know. But I trust you and I have confidence in you that you only give me the best. You only give me the best. That's Bitachon in Hashem. Now that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes. Why? Because sometimes you have certain people that have difficulties in their life and say, listen, how can I escape this difficulty? Now of course there are different things that you can do. You can change circumstances by changing yourself, by doing tshuva and changing the deen that you have in Shamayim. But sometimes you are doing everything right. Or at least it looks like you're doing everything right. And still the situation is difficult. Still the situation is terrible. Which means that without you accepting that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving you the best piece of the pie that's available to you, you're simply going to live life like a victim, like a miserable victim. And trust me, I know how that feels. I lived like that for several years. It doesn't feel good to feel like a victim. But that's the problem. When you don't trust HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you feel like a victim. You feel like he's abusing you. You feel like he's hitting you. And you don't even know why, and you can't even hit back. The reality is, Rabotai, Bitachon in Hashem is the greatest gift you can ever give yourself and your loved ones. By simply having a clarity that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving you the best that's available to you. Now, sometimes you have a situation where a person thinks he has Bitachon, thinks he has confidence in Hashem, because in reality, everything is going well for him. He's got a little bit of money in his pocket. He's got a house. He's paying the bills. Got a wife, kids. He's got a husband, kids. Everything's going okay. And he tells, how's it going? Oh, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Everything you're asking, Baruch Hashem. So it looks like, oh, wow. And then, better yet, sometimes they like to critique other people. They say, listen, why are you so down? Have Bitachon in Hashem. Have Bitachon in Hashem. They see other people down. They have Bitachon in Hashem. Why? Because they have Bitachon Hashem, or at least they think they do. And that's what the section is today. The section is about that. Because Chazon Ish says, a lot of people think they have Bitachon until the big test shows up. Till the big test shows up and you realize they don't have Bitachon. But now he gives us, in the second chapter, third section, he gives us a story. He gives us a story, and B'siyat Dishmai talks about Reuven. It's not me though, I didn't know him yet. But perhaps he is talking about me. I don't know. We'll see. Look at this story. But BeEzrat Hashem, we'll learn from this story enough to get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Chazon Ish says, ומה שאנו רואים בחיים, ראובן, איש מוסרי, וזמרת הביטחון על דל שפתיו, תמיד מגנה את רוב ההשתדלות, ומתעב את הרדיפה אחר פרנסה, ואומנם הוא איש מצליח. ובחנותו לא יחסר לו לקוחות ואיננו זקוק לרוב ההשתדלות, אמנם אוהב הוא את הביטחון, כי הלא גם הביטחון מראה לו פנים שוחקות. Translation. What we see in life is people like Reuven, who is a moral person, meaning a person that not only he likes to read MUSSAR, maybe a little bit of shiur Bitachon, maybe a little bit of Chazon Ish, maybe a little bit of Rabbi Victor Miller, all types of Bitachon. This Reuven guy, he's Bitachon. Not only that, he speaks of Bitachon in Hashem, meaning he teaches other people about Bitachon. Listen, Why don't you have Bitachon? Why don't you have Bitachon? You should have Bitachon Hashem. Tells me every time you see somebody struggling, why are you struggling, Habibi? Have Bitachon Hashem. You know those people. Those people that, they're always like they're smiling and they're telling you that you should have Bitachon Hashem. Okay. Says this Reuven, he's a moral person. He has some MUSSAR in him. He has a few Sfarim, perhaps. And he even likes to talk about Hashem, in the sense of teaching about Bitachon. And not only that, he condemns excessive efforts in life. He's like one of those people who says, why are you working so hard? Why are you working so hard? 12 o'clock at night? Go to your wife at 6 o'clock. No, you can... If Hashem wanted you to finish the project today, you would have finished it today. If He doesn't want you to finish the project today, you can work till 2 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to finish it. What are you working so hard for? You're one of those people. Too much ishtadlut, too much ishtadlus. No, come on, you're killing yourself already. You're like one of those people. He says, shouldn't try so hard. And not only that, the Chazuni says, he expresses his abhorrence of constant pursuit of financial means. You always have after money, everything with you is money. What, don't you know that Hashem is the one that gives you parnasah? He even gives you verses. Gemara Masechet BeEzrat, page 16. Gemara Masechet Rosh Hashanah, page 16. Bottom 16, 16a, 16b. And what do you say? So the Kadosh Baruch Hu gives you parnasah from Rosh Hashanah, from Rosh Hashanah until Rosh Hashanah. Kadosh Baruch Hu already wrote it for you. There's nothing you can do. You can work 2 jobs, 8 jobs, 9 jobs, or no jobs. If Kadosh Baruch Hu wants to give you money, He'll give you money. Why are you working so hard for money? This guy is like a Talmid Chacham in Bitachon, this Reuven. Indeed, what do we also find? But he's a successful person. He's got money though. This guy, this Reuven, he's got money. He lacks no customers in his store. He doesn't need any expend effort in his direction. He's got one of those businesses that pretty much works itself. Works itself. He's been there for 20 years already. He doesn't need to do any real advertising. People just pretty much show up. He's got one of those businesses that's like a staple. Practically everybody needs it. It's the local deli and he's the only one in town. He's the local hardware store. He's the only one in town. Pretty much anyone needs his goods. There's only one place to go. Reuven. So he's got one of those, he doesn't have to market. All he's got to do is exist. That's all he's got to do for his parnasah. And he's like, well, because listen, I work a few hours a day, I do my parnasah. So he feels like he has bitachon. He has bitachon. He lacks no customers. He doesn't need to expend any effort in that direction. And not only that, he loves the concept of bitachon and Hashem. Because even the concept itself smiles upon him. He says he loves talking about Bitachon because so far, even the Bitachon is smiling at him. Why? He said, listen, when I was 35 years old, I was struggling for money. And look, I had Bitachon Hashem, and next thing you know, my store did okay. When I was 25 years old, I was looking for a wife. And look, I found a wife. And he tells you all types of nice stories about how he trusted in Hashem, and Hashem smiled back at him. So he now feels like he's a teacher. He feels like he's an expert in it. And suddenly, we are surprised to see Reuven, that great truster in Hashem, conferring secretly with his assistants and consultant as to how to stop a potential rival who plans to open a store just like his. All of a sudden, there's Mr. Reuven, there's Mr. Bitachon, who tells everybody, Bitachon b'Hashem, why are you working so hard? Look at me, everything's going good for me. All of a sudden, he finds out somebody's opening another hardware store just like his. He finds out somebody's opening a deli just like his. He finds out somebody's opening a laundromat just like his. He finds out somebody's opening a synagogue just like his. And all of a sudden he says, hey, listen, we're going to do something about this. Sonny, we're going to do something about this. Got to take this guy down. You know any guys from Italy? You know anybody from the mother country over there? You know anybody from Russia? Maybe want to go back to the KGB status? You know anybody that can take care of this guy? What happened? What happened to the Bitachon? What happened to the Bitachon? You said the old Parnasah shows up. Why are you working so hard? All of a sudden, when it starts to hit home and he feels like he's threatened, He starts socializing with some of his people, secretly though, secret. Who can take care of this guy? Make sure that he knows this place is not for him. We got this territory. We got this. This territory is not for him. Rabotai, this happens all over the world, but not just in business. In business, you already know, I don't have to tell you. In business, people simply, they have gotten to a point where I think the generation of Sodom and Gomorrah are saying we weren't as bad as these people. Today, it's become, scamming has become lechatchila. Lechatchila, meaning the preferred way. People today, literally, they don't know how to do business the right way. I got young kids that are in the work world only for a few years, and they keep asking me about new jobs. And they tell me, listen, I have this new job. Okay, what's this job? I don't know, I started it recently, but it feels like something's wrong. What's wrong? Well, we're calling these clients, but they're not really our clients. We're telling them that we are company A, but in reality, we're company B. I said, why would you do such a thing? He said, because if I tell them company A, they're already doing business with company A. And I'm just telling them, listen, I'm calling with company A, but we want to give you an upgrade. In reality, the upgrade is company B, their company. I said, that's lying. You're not allowed to do such a thing. He's like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm asking them. There's no question. It's a lie. You have to leave this business. Okay, fine. He leaves the business. Okay, hi, Rabbi, I got a question. What's the question? Listen, we're selling these warranties. Okay, so warranty, I don't know, warranty. Some people like warranties. No, what's the problem? He said, well, the problem is that we're selling the warranty for, I don't know, $500 for these products. I said, okay, fine, sounds kind of expensive, but okay, what does it give you? He says, that's the problem. It doesn't cover anything. He says, so why is it called a warranty? He says, because it covers only the things that no one really needs. He says, so what about the standard stuff that goes bad? He goes, no, it doesn't cover that. I say, do you tell that to the client? He goes, no. They'd fire me if I tell the client. Nobody would buy this warranty. I said, it's a scam. Leave the company. Okay. Rabbi, listen, I got another question. What's the question? We got this business, we're lending money. Okay, lending money is not such a good business for Jews. Yeah, but listen, people that are calling us because they need the money. Okay, so what's the problem? Well, we're telling them, listen, it's a good deal. We'll get them the money in 48 hours. All right. Do you tell them what the terms are and everything? We tell them it's 5%. I said, so that's all you're charging, 5%? He goes, yeah, a week. 5% a week. I said, what do you mean 5% a week? 5% a week is 610% a year. He said, yeah, exactly. This is robbery. You're better off going to his house, robbing his entire life savings and running away than lending him money with 600% interest. And all types of scam businesses. And unfortunately, many of them have some tool that pretends to be religious behind them. Many of them, not all of them, but many of them do. So it gives the lie an element of truth, because you think the guy that's a rabbi, the guy that's a religious, perhaps he's not going to do something illegal. He's not going to do something that's unethical. Wrong. Just because he's got a beard and a hat doesn't mean anything anymore. Today it's become simply lechatchila, preferable to cheat. People don't think they can make money without cheating. They cheat in everything, they lie in everything. But this is not the only place. It also happens, this mentality also happens in, unfortunately, the religious world. When we were looking for communities, I called a few different places. I figured, you know what, I'm going there, there's a community over there that I found that there's some, a few 100,000 Jews, or maybe 20, 30, 50,000 Jews in this area, but only 1 or 2 shuls. So I figured, these shuls can't fit 20, 30,000 people. You could always need some more places, and a yeshiva, and so on and so forth. You're not stepping on anybody's toes, because even if they were the most popular, you can't fit everybody there. So I figured, let me befriend some of the local rabbis, and I called the rabbis. Hey, how are you? Listen, I didn't even tell them my name, so just in case. Hey, how are you? Listen, I'm interested in opening a synagogue in your area, and not once, not twice, but 3 different communities, 3 different rabbis gave me the same answer. Why? I said, what do you mean, why? I want to open a synagogue, I want to open a yeshiva, I want to open a school, all types of things that the community needs. He goes, no. If they need anything, we got it. So what do you mean you got it? You got a little shul over there. Maybe you could fit 200 people. He goes, yeah, but if I need more, I'll call my friends. I said, yeah, but I'm going to move there. I'm looking to move there anyway. Would you want to work together? No, no, no. You move in here, we're going to give you problems. All right, tell me to my face. We're going to give you problems. We're going to make sure this. We're going to make sure... The guy doesn't even know me. He's already threatening me. I said, why are you acting like this? He goes, oh, well, why are you coming here? He tells me. I'm not doing it. You just want to fight. I said, why am I just fight? I'm calling you to just say hello. No, no, no. Don't say hello this way. You want me to help you go somewhere else, go to some place where there's nothing there. That's fine. But you coming over here, coming to my territory. My territory. Unbelievable. This is happening, unfortunately, in a lot of places. People have such a warped mentality that they think that if you come with your business or your synagogue or your yeshiva to a vicinity that's close to theirs or even next door or a mile away, automatically you're the enemy. Automatically you're stealing bread from their oven. This is what the Chazon Ish is talking about. Now these people, before this conversation, you ask them, hey Rabbi, can you tell me a shiur about Bitachon? Sure, son, no problem. Gives you a shiur about Bitachon for an hour straight. Gives you books about Bitachon. Tells you how Bitachon. You ask this boss that makes $1 million a year, listen, you have Bitachon Hashem? Sure, Bitachon. So how come you're cheating business? How come you won't allow anybody else in your territories if you own the place? How come? That's what happens. This Reuven the Chazon Ish says, this Reuven says he has Bitachon, he tells people you should have Bitachon, but that's only because everything is going good for him. He doesn't have to fight for any business. He's the only deli in town. He's the only laundromat in town. He's the only Bet Knesset in town. He doesn't have any competition, so he feels like he has Bitachon. He feels like Bitachon is smiling at him. But the second somebody else wants to come into the vicinity, automatically he starts thinking like a mobster. He starts thinking like a mobster. Starts thinking like a criminal. Starts talking to his assistants. Listen, this guy, he's not listening. We got to take care of him in a different way. We got to show him that we own the place. We run this joint. That's how he's talking. That's how the Reuven's talking. He says, "Lo, listen. Lo haya v'lo yeh. It will never happen. It's not going to happen. We run this place. This is our area. This is our territory. Even where we live right now, there's some Joe Schmo over here that has a monstrosity of a building, called it a synagogue, even though there's no minyan. Somebody else wanted to open a synagogue. He says, no, no, no. You're stepping on my toes. What's stepping on your toes? You don't have a minyan. You have a $5 million building with 8 people. You have a $5 million building with 8 people. What territory? What are you talking about? I'm opening a synagogue. I don't need to ask your permission. No. Listen, if you come here, you open a synagogue, I'm going to give you problems. I'm going to call this. They start threatening you. Mobsters with kippas on. Why? It all stems from lack of bitachon. But not just lack of bitachon, a non-existent bitachon. A non-existent bitachon. There's a pasuk in the Torah that talks about those people. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse number 13. בפיו ושפתיו כיבדוני, וליבו רחק ממני. ותהי יראתם אותי מצוות אנשים מלומדה. The Lord said, Kadosh Baruch Hu said to the prophet Isaiah, what did he say? Inasmuch as this people has drawn close, with its mouth and with its lips, it has honored me, yet it has distanced its heart from me. Their fear of me is like rote learning of human commands. What does it mean? He says these people, they are rabbis or religious leaders of some kind. They teach about emunah, they teach about bitachon. He's a local guy that perhaps even funded a synagogue, or he maybe gives some tzedakah and so on and so forth. They say they have bitachon. In their mouth, they honor me. They say, no, Baruch Hashem, we have bitachon Hashem. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the only one that knows what's inside your heart. What's inside your heart. And he tells Isaiah the prophet, he says, Isaiah, don't believe a word that they're saying. The word that they're saying, bitachon, is just in their mouth. Their hearts are distant from me. They're distant from me. So then Isaiah is asking, wait, so how do you explain their show of bitachon with their lips? How do you explain that the guy says bitachon, bitachon, but he doesn't have any? How do you explain that? He says, Yiratam oti mitzvat anashim melumada. Their expression of fearing me, their expression of connecting to me, is just because that's what they learned in school. They learned in school, have bitachon Hashem. They learn in school, yeah, all types of things, all types of mantras, all types of sayings, and that's what they say. They say have bitachon, they say have emunah, but they don't really believe it. They don't really know what it is even. Robots. Robots, that's all they are. Their lips honor me. Words that they say honor me. Hearts far away, distant from me. This is exactly what the Chazon Ish is telling us. He's telling us, Rabotai, that there are such people. There are such people, and unfortunately many of them, that the second that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends some person into their community that has the same store, automatically they view this person as competition, as an enemy, and they start conspiring against him. One of the most common ways to do it is Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara, simple. Oh, you go to Shimon's store now, the new store. Yeah, it's good. Sorry I didn't go to your store. No, Mabruk, enjoy, they tell you. No, you like your store, you like your stuff, you got nice stuff, right? Yeah, actually, I do like your stuff, the woman says. I do like your stuff. Oh, okay, well, I mean, it's too bad that you can have gezel on your hand. But, it's okay, you like it. Well, hold on a second. What gezel? What are you talking about? What? I didn't steal any money. No, I'm not saying you stole anything. It just, words travel, and, I don't know, it just somebody says the reason why there's such good prices is because, something fell off the truck, if you know what I mean. I'm not going to say Lashon Hara. I'm not going to say Lashon Hara. Start giving you the idea that the goods you're buying are stolen, or that he is some type of other criminal, and start creating all types of things. All types of rechilut, all types of Lashon Hara, all types of other things. Oh, you do business with them? Yeah. Well, listen, you do realize that he's not a kosher person, right? You do realize that somebody saw him someplace, and they start making up all types of stuff. All types of stuff. Why? They conspire. Secret. And then he continues, because this guy, Reuven, is trying to stop anything this rival is doing, because he views him as a rival. He doesn't view him as a fellow Jew. She doesn't view her as a fellow Jew. She views her, no. She came into my territory, she's an enemy. She's a Amalek. She's a missionary. She's everything else. Why? She's hurting my pocket. As if HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself is not the one that's controlling what's going in our pocket. So then, the Chazon Ish continues, Reuven is very upset by this threat. At the beginning, he keeps his feelings to himself, because he's embarrassed to reveal them to his acquaintances, fearing their derision. In the beginning, Reuven doesn't tell everybody. He just tells his close people, the ones that work for him, the people that he can tell him what to do, but no one's going to say anything back, because he pays their salaries. You put some graffiti on the store. You order some goods as if you're some customer, but don't pay for it. You do this, you do that. He tells only his close little minions. Why? He can't tell his friends. Because he tells his friends, these are the same friends that he told him, why don't you have bitachon? You should have bitachon. Parnasah comes from shamayim, all that stuff. So he's afraid that if he tells his friends, they're going to lose respect for him. But this is only for a limited amount of time. Why? With time, Chazon Ish says, he loses his sense of busha. He loses his sense of shame. This concern about people judging him, that he is, he doesn't have really bitachon like he said he did, out in the garbage. He's not afraid of what people think anymore. In fact, he starts conjuring up new excuses. He loses his sense of shame, and he begins to act openly with the aim of preventing the rival from carrying out his plans. He starts getting in the way. All of a sudden, the city shows up at his new store. The city shows up at his new building. Oh yes, how can I help you? yeah, we got an anonymous call. We got an anonymous call that you guys weren't building according to code. We got an anonymous call. Really, it's Reuven. We got an anonymous. They always get anonymous calls. Like my next door neighbor that anonymously called the city because he didn't like how my sukkah looked in my backyard. This Amalek called the city anonymously, as if I wouldn't know it's him. Why? Because the pictures that the city showed me that they knew that the sukkah was there, because no one sees it from the front, it's in my backyard. The pictures, where they come from? From his backyard. But when he sees me, he says hello. He says, how you doing? Amalek. Amalek. Reality is people anonymously. They think that Hashem is not watching. They think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not watching. It's a complete joke. But that's what happens every day. The city comes, there's some other Joe Schmo comes, and he says, yeah, we got an anonymous call that there's noise coming out of your apartment. We got an anonymous call that you're not building to code. We got an anonymous call that such and such. Where's this anonymous call coming from? From this guy, from this Rabbi Reuven. From this Rabbi Reuven that doesn't have any Bitachon in Hashem. Why? He saw somebody moving in, he doesn't like it. Why? He's on my turf. He's on my turf. Yeah, but you don't own this property. No, this is my area. It's been my area for 20 years. So now, Rabotai Yekarim, Chazon Ish tells us a real life story that literally is happening as we speak. Happens every day in all types of communities. People always call all these Reshaim that are jealous of their neighbors, jealous of their competitors, jealous of their fellow Jews. What do? They're like Muslim, MUSSAR. They call the authorities, but anonymously. Why? Because they don't want to be disclosed that their hatred is such. But this is only temporary. Eventually, it goes out in the open. In the beginning, it's secret, but eventually, it goes out in the open. He starts telling people about his plans. Why? He has to prevent this Reuven from carrying out his plans. This Shimon from carrying out his plans. Gradually, he gravitates toward the crooked path, and his sense of shame evaporates completely. Little by little, this Reuven sees that this Shimon continues his plans. He's continuing to build a store. He's continuing to build the yeshiva. He's continuing to build the school and everything else. He can't handle it. He tried a few things and it didn't work. So now he starts doing things that are beyond the law, against the law. Starts calling people that are criminals. Hey, Joey, why don't you go to Shimon's house and let him know that we're not so happy with him? Hey, Steve, why don't you go to Shimon's house and tell him this is warning number 2? Hey, Sergio, why don't you bring some of your friends from the KGB and tell this guy in your own words that we're not so happy, that he's got a store over here. Maybe he should move to Mexico. Maybe he should move to Honolulu. Maybe he should move to somewhere else that's not here. Tell him that we'll give him some going away money. He starts acting like a criminal. He could be 5 feet tall with arms that are shorter than a dinosaur's, but he feels strong. He feels strong. Why? He's like these people that can tell other people what to do. This is very common on the internet. We call them keyboard warriors. A lot of people, they feel strong behind the keyboard, behind the screen. Start writing all types of comments, start writing all types of hate mail, start making all types of nonsense on the internet. Why? To hurt you. And they do it openly in the beginning, they do it behind the scenes, eventually they do it in front of the scenes. They go onto your Facebook profile and they write you a negative recommendation. Oh yeah, don't believe these people, they're all about the money. All types of nonsense. Why? Because they feel like you're in their territory. And it doesn't matter, it's not just business, it can be spirituality also. And they use all types of crooked paths. He openly commits low and deplorable actions. In public. The competition between him and his rival becomes widely known, and it's the talk of the town. And still he feels no shame, but rather comes up with the baseless and untrue reasons and explanations in order to justify his actions. He tells people, listen, you see that guy, I told you he's not doing good business. The government showed up and he's been shut down for a few days. Yeah, what government? You're the one that called the government. Yeah, I called the government because I'm protecting you guys. I'm protecting the public. I knew he was stealing. How'd you know he was stealing? You saw it? Listen, I saw enough. He never saw nothing. He just accused his rival for stealing just because he thinks he's stealing his money. In his mind, he said, listen, I didn't see him steal from customers, but obviously if he's stealing my business, surely he's stealing customers' money too. He starts doing all types of calculations in his head to rationalize his evil, to rationalize his wicked ways. Over time, he becomes even more sophisticated and adds new explanations, claiming that everything he's doing against his rival is for the sake of heaven and is morally acceptable. Listen, I'm going against him because he's a wicked person. He's a terrible person. He's a person that's hurting the public. That's why I'm doing it. How is he doing it? He's teaching Torah. How is he doing it? No. He's not teaching it like my rabbi teaches. Yeah, but maybe your rabbi has his way and his rabbi has his way. As long as he's not saying something that's against the Torah, there's no problem. There's plenty of rabbis out there. Different people have different shitot. You don't necessarily need to be friends with everybody. You don't necessarily need to agree with everybody. The entire Gemara is full of machlokets, of different debates between the rabbanim. Yet they still loved each other enough that they married their kids to each other. You don't have to necessarily be on the same way or even speak the same way. But if he says things that are against the Torah, that's a different story. And this happens a lot. Many times, Baruch Hashem, we've seen people that are saying things that are against the Torah. When I see it, if I see that this is a danger to Am Yisrael, of course we have an obligation. We have a Torah obligation to go and rebuke and protest. Not just rebuke, but also protest. You have to call out to Hashem. You have to call out to the people to let them know this is wrong. When someone like Shmuley Boteach promotes and pretty much says that homosexuality is not a bad thing, or some of these other jokers that we've discussed in the past are saying things that are against the Torah, we have to protest and we have to rebuke. These are two separate mitzvot. But then sometimes people think that it's just, I like to fight. I like to fight. Like I have nothing better to do with my life. I like to fight. So they start sending me all types of people. Anybody that just doesn't sound exactly like I do, they figure maybe he's a heretic. Maybe we can get another fight. And of course, some people mean well. Some people just like to see fights. Some people just like to see fights. And that's actually what the Chazon Ish starts to say over here. He fools himself into thinking, into believing this, and fools others too. Who does he fool? Simple people, and those who love a good fight. And usually he attracts fight mongers and gossip lovers. This guy, he attracts other people with his new argument. He says, no, I'm only calling the IRS against this guy. I'm only calling the FBI against this guy. I'm only calling the city against this guy because I know he's crooked. How do you know he's crooked? No. If he's stealing, if he just moved in here without asking me for permission, surely there's something wrong with him. Surely he's not a good guy. Surely he's not one of us. Yeah, but you didn't see him do anything wrong. So who's supporting this guy? People that like fights. People that like fights. Yeah, you know what? He should have asked you. Yeah, you know what? Who's he to just come out here? Who does he think he is? And they start saying things. Same thing happens, unfortunately. Sometimes I'll say something against somebody. Why? Not for them personally. Not for them personally. I care less about personal lives. There's nothing to do with personal lives. When I speak against Shmuley Boteach or Manis Friedman or Dror Kasuto or Merlevis or Efrem Goldberg, I'm not talking about them personally. I care less about the personal situation. It's nothing to do with it. The only time I mention them is based on the things that they say that are against the Torah. We have to defend the Torah. We have to protest when people that are supposed to be Torah leaders are saying things that are against the Torah and misleading people. But, of course, you're always going to have some people tag along and support you, not for the right reasons. Not for the right reasons. Why? They just like to fight. Yeah, he's stupid too, this old man. Well, who said he's stupid? What are you talking about? I never said he's stupid. What are you talking about? Yeah, he's ugly too. What ugly? What's that have to do with anything? What, am I dating him? What is the difference to me? Oh, no, I cursed him out. Why? Why did you curse him out? Yeah, I know I sent him an email from anonymous. I told him, listen, if you continue, I'm going to kill you. I'm like, what? Who told you to do this? What's wrong with you? You're turning this into some personal battle. What are you, crazy? Anytime I knew something like this happened against even the people that I consider them reshaim complete, according to the Torah, I tell people don't do such things. We're specifically talking about their Torah perspective that's wrong, and they're misleading the public. They're misleading the public. To go and start calling names and things of that nature it's not part of the equation. But of course, the people that like to fight, they're going to do it. They like it. And that's the problem. There's no way to avoid it. There's no way to avoid it. If you're going to go public against somebody, you're going to carry some good people that are simple and they want to the truth. Okay, this is the truth. Yes, we're against this person because he's doing things that are against the Torah. And these are good people and they're supportive and they're fantastic people and we need them. But there's sometimes going to be people that just like to fight. How do you know if they like to fight or they're simply fighting for the sake of Torah? If they continue fighting for the right reason, or they just start looking for fights. If they fight for the right reason, they know this is the truth. I'm going to go in this path. I'm going to focus on this path. I'm going to focus on growing myself spiritually. I'm going to focus on growing my emunah, my bitachon, my yirat shamayim. I'm going to focus on that. But the people that like to fight, what do? They start searching the internet for rabbis and different people that talk against what we say. Oh, look, Rabbi, look, I found this one. Oh, yeah, last week you gave me another guy. Who are they? You watch all these shiurim? No, I just surfed the internet. I saw this guy talking, and he said something that I don't think it sounds right. What, are you looking for fights? You're looking for fights? That's all you're doing? There's even a situation where some people literally build entire websites or YouTube pages or Facebook pages where all they do is insult other people, insult other rabbis. One of the recent ones that we talked about is this idiot that is publicly insulting the Baal Tanya, publicly saying, call him a heretic, in the name of the Gra, in the name of the Gaon of Vilna. Complete nonsense. The Gaon of Vilna never called him a heretic. Surely the Gaon of Vilna did not agree with the way Hasidut was spread and how it was being taught, but he never called him a heretic. He never called the Tanya a heretic. You're not going to see anything in the Gaon of Vilna Sfarim saying, oh, the Tanya is a heretic. Actually, to my knowledge, I don't even think they were alive at the same time. I think he died when he was born, or when the Tanya came out. But either way, people like to fight, so they're going to create something up. Yeah, since it's well known that the Gaon of Vilna was not for Hasidut. He didn't like the way Hasidut was being spread. Not that Hasidut was heresy, it was wrong per se, but that he didn't like certain things about it. He never called the Baal Shem Tov a heretic. He never called the Baal Shem Tov a kafir. But what are these people say? Yeah, since I don't like Chabad, so what am I going to do? I'm going to destroy the root of Chabad. I'm going to go and say that the Tanya is a heretic. I'm going to call this one's a heretic. Who said this? What are you doing? You're just fighting for no reason? Do you understand what kind of damage you're bringing to your life? The Gemara says, someone that insults Talmidei Chachamim, en trufa lemakato. A person that insults real Talmidei Chachamim, there is no cure to his ailment. Now you're going to ask me, yeah, but what about the arguments at the time of the Rambam? The arguments at the time of the Rambam, some of the big Chachamim at that day, the Gdol Hador at that time thought that the Rambam was a heretic. Yeah, he was a Gdol Hador. He can say it. You can't. Why? He's saying it in the name of the Torah, based on his understanding of what he was doing and what he was doing, and his misunderstanding of what he was doing. Same thing with Rabbi Yonah, same thing with many of the Chachamim. Sometimes they use very spicy words. You could even say certain things like Rav Shach said about the Lubavitcher Rebbe. They obviously, he did not care for his Shita at all, and he did call him horrible things. But guess what? He can do it. The Talmidim can't. The Talmidim can't. And better yet, spreading that information today is not going to create anything other than fights, other than hatred. Like if you now publicize a new video or a new letter or an old letter by Rav Shach, which was publicly against the Lubavitcher Rebbe and Chabad and so on, very well known, and some big Chachamim like Rav Ovadia said that, you know what, Rav Shach is not wrong.
I'm not fighting along with him. He's not joining the fight, Rabbi Ovadia said, but he's not wrong about what the things that he's saying. Now, publicizing some of the horrible statements that he said, or perhaps better yet, some of the horrible things that some of the students of the Lubavitcher Rebbe said and did to the Rav Shach, what is that going to do for you today? Who's going to do tshuva as a result of it? Who's going to get closer to Hashem as a result of it? All it's going to do is create hatred. There are times that we mention certain things for educational reasons. It's part of the shiur, it's part of the argument, it's part of what we're doing. But to just publicly post posters or sayings just to advocate, oh, we hate this guy, we hate that guy, you, my friend, are Rasha. That's all you are. You're a Rasha. You like to fight. You like to create tension between Am Yisrael. Because if you really were doing it for Shamayim, every single message that would come out of your mouth or off your keyboard will have to have some type of message that, okay, what can we learn from this? How can we build from this? How can we help people from this? To just simply insult a bunch of people that follow certain teachings blindly, what's it going to do for you? Now, yes, you're going to say, yeah, but you mentioned things against Chabad. I never mentioned things about Chabad. I mentioned things against people that are worshiping the Rebbe, just like I did earlier today. What they're doing is wrong. It's wrong according to the Rebbe. It's wrong according to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even more so. My message is to try to get to them to hear this, and hopefully help a few that still have eyes that they can see and ears that they can hear. But I also take a lot of heat because of it, because the ones that don't have eyes to see and ears to hear, all they do is attack me all day. But along with that message comes a whole shiur of things you need to stay away from and things you need to do to get better and so on and so forth. It's not just a blanket statement of hatred. And there's a very significant difference. You can do the same thing. Anybody can do it. But it has to be done a certain way. To just blanket out there, curse everybody out, and just say I hate everybody, that's not producing any good whatsoever. This is one of the reasons why many times people publicize the one verse or one saying of one of the Chachamim, and yeah, many times these are good things, but sometimes it's better not to post them. It's better not to post them. Why? Because you see, this, yeah, it may give chizuk to 6 people, but it's going to offend 6,000. Like, you have to think a little deeper if you really care about Am Yisrael. You can't just insult people for no reasons. One of the things that requires some, serious machshava, serious thought process behind it. But what happens? This Reuven that has fake Bitachon, because he says Bitachon, but as soon as competition shows up in his town, he all of a sudden starts to conjure up all types of plans to destroy the competition. He starts rubbing elbows with all types of illegal types of activities, all types of crazy people. And along the way, he starts befriending people that like fights, which is the worst type. People that just like, that they obsess themselves. They become obsessed with the fight. You ask her, listen, have you reviewed Alachot Shabbat? Oh, not yet, not the whole thing yet. Okay. Have you reviewed Alachot Nidah? No, not the whole, but you're a woman. Yes, I am a woman. Last I checked, I'm a woman. Okay, so how come you don't know Alachot Nidah? How come you don't know Taharat Mishpacha? You're married too, right? So how do you know that you're doing the right thing with the mikveh? How do you know that every time you're with your husband, you're allowed to be with him? Do you know there's specific times during the day? No, Rabbi, I know, I go to the mikveh, I'm finished. But that's not it. There's also specific times during the month that you're not allowed to be with them, even if you're actually Torah. And if you don't know those halachot, guess what? You can be with your husband at a forbidden time. And you're putting yourself at risk. Oh, I didn't get a chance to cover it. Yeah, but you had a chance to cover all the reasons why you hate Chabad. You had a chance to cover all the reasons you hate Breslov. You had a chance to all the reasons that you hate the Sfaradim. You had a chance to cover all the reasons that you hate the Ashkenazim. You had time to cover all the reasons you hate everybody. But the things that you have to actually do, you don't have time. What does that mean? You're obsessed with hatred. That's what it means. You're obsessed with hatred. Which is perfectly fit for that verse. In their mouth they say, no, I'm doing it for the sake of Hashem. That's why I'm publicizing these things. Yeah, if you're publicizing that you love Hashem so much, you would also learn His Torah. You would also learn His Torah. You'd also learn the rules. But the reality is, if all you know is hatred, but you don't even know the basics of what you're supposed to know, that means that your heart is still far from Hashem. Your mouth says you're close to Hashem, but your heart is distant from Hashem. Why? Because your actions speak for themselves. Your actions speak for themselves. If you know more about why you hate somebody than why you actually even a Jew, if you don't have a legitimate explanation of what makes you a Jew, you do not know anything yet. And it's better that you don't publicize any opinion at all of yourself. Why? Because you don't know enough yet. But that's what happens when a person is too focused on fighting. He just likes to stir up fights. Stir up fights. Oh, you see what he said? Well, what did he say? Oh, he said that he's against him. Oh, really? Okay, right. Yeah, I hate him too. Why do you hate him? Because he hates him? Yeah, no, if he hates him, then I hate him. What are you crazy? Are you a crazy person? Are you that much of a sheep? Have your own brain for once. And that's what happens. Sometimes people love fights. And people like this Reuven that has no Bitachon, that he fights for no reason, just aside from himself, they attract like magnets. All these people that like fights. Needless to say, people that even do it for the sake of heaven will also attract people that like fights. There's some rabbis that, Baruch Hashem, are big tzaddikim, and at times they had public fights with different rabbis. And guess what? Some of their own fans went and became violent, not because they asked them for. There's a very famous fight that happened not too long ago between a couple of big rabbanim. Both are good people. Both mean well. And unfortunately, as you would have it, some of the Talmidim of one side decide, you know what? They disagree. I got to do something about it. They showed up at the other rabbi's lecture and started beating people up. And tried. One of them took his bike helmet, motorcycle helmet, and just missed the rabbi in the face. Just missed him. He could have killed him on the spot. And that wasn't enough. He continued. They got him out of the back room. They put him in the car, and the guy smashed the front window with his motorcycle helmet. Like they're crazy people. Now, when you ask that rabbi that is against them, he says, listen, I don't like him, but I didn't ask anybody to kill him. I don't agree with him. I didn't ask anybody to kill him. That's not the fight. You see people in the Gemara fight all the time about different things. They believe passionately that the other side is wrong, and even to the point sometimes of saying that the other side is completely wrong to the point of heresy. But they're not trying to kill each other. This, Abotai, is what a person needs to understand. When there is a debate between Talmidei Chachamim, generally speaking, it's not personal. It's your belief is contrary to mine. Now, if we simply believe two different things, that's one thing. But if your belief contradicts mine, then that's a problem. Why? I have to fight for my emet. I have to fight for my truth. Because both of us cannot be right. So I have to fight and defend my truth. And that's why if you ever go into a bet midrash, a serious bet midrash, and you see a chavruta learning a serious sugya, you're going to see these people. Are they crazy? Why are they yelling the whole time? Who can study here? What do you mean? The best people in the world are studying here. Why are they always yelling at each other? Because he's fighting for his truth, and he's fighting for his truth. That's why. At the end of the day, they're going to hug and kiss each other. It's not personal. But that's what the Am Haaretz doesn't know. That's what the ignoramuses don't know. And that's the problem. Why? Because usually the biggest trouble is caused by the Talmidim, if you will. Furthermore, the Chazon Ish continues, and he says, the Satan creates peace between all of these people that love to fight, so that they can all build a stable fortress of strife and arguments, speaking evil of others, lies, tale-bearing, baseless hatred, all of which shorten men's lives. The Satan starts dancing. He has a party. Why? He sees Joe over here. He likes to fight. Steve over here loves a good fight. Samantha over here, she lives for fights. And guess what? They don't like each other. But now the rabbi said something about some other rabbi. He said something kosher and he said something kosher. They're both right. But they actually disagree with each other. And one of them mentioned it publicly, no, I actually disagree with this chacham because I think that what he's saying is wrong. All of a sudden, Steve and Joe says, hey, by the way, you see what he said about him? You see what he said about him? Yeah, all of a sudden there's peace between Steve and Joe, and then Samantha shows up and says, they hate her, both of them hate her, more than they hate each other. But Samantha says, listen guys, I got a chidush. I know we hate each other, but I got a chidush. This guy just said this. Ooh, what? Ooh, now she's their best friend. Now she's their best friend all of a sudden. Why? Now we can make a big fight. Satan makes peace between the people that like the fights just for the sake of for them to make it even a bigger fire. A bigger fire, more dangerous fire. And this creates a lot of lashon hara, rechilut, all types of sins that the Chazon Ish says every one of these sins is one of the reasons why people die young. People say lashon hara, they die young. People say rechilut, they die young. All of these things are reasons why Kadosh Baruch Hu kills people young. Shem Yishmo. It's possible to find this negative scenario even in matters that are completely spiritual. In certain situations and ambiguous cases, all the tools of destructive divisiveness appear in these two, just like in other matters. So you see, Rabotai, here, that when a person does not understand why he's in this world and who's running the world, he doesn't have Bitachon, how it's not only that he could live a miserable life, a life where he feels or she feels like a victim, but worse yet, it actually breeds sinat chinam, which is one of the main reasons of why we still don't have a Bet HaMikdash. So we go from having bitachon, which is the highest level of showing Hashem honor, having bitachon Hashem, to not having bitachon, being the reason why there's divisiveness and thereby destructive nature among people and the destruction of the Bet HaMikdash. That's how much bitachon means. You have it, you'll have salvation, blessing, and everything in the world. You don't have it, the nation is destroyed. The house of Hashem is destroyed. There's sinat chinam everywhere. People hate each other for no reason. People competing each other even when they're not in the same business. All types of things. Why? Lack of bitachon is not just for the individual, but rather it affects every little thing around him, his whole world around him. When a person does not understand that, he's not going to understand the reasons behind certain mitzvot. Like we mentioned a few weeks ago, the Sefer HaChinuch. Sefer HaChinuch brings up from almost 700 years ago. He says, how come there's a mitzvah obligation from the Torah that you're not allowed to take revenge? You're not allowed to take revenge against another Jew. He did something bad to you. She did something bad to you. You're not allowed to take revenge against them. Revenge belongs to Hashem. Sefer HaChinuch gives clarity as clear as day about it. He says it's not about that Hashem is scared that you're going to hurt him. It's not about that Hashem is is going to mess with your free choice. No. When you take revenge or you want to take revenge, why are you doing it? You're doing it because you think that he hurt you, that he's the one that stole your customer, that she's the one that stole your business, that he's the one that stole this or took this from you. And the Sefer HaChinuch says that is the definition of heresy. Why? You believe that he has power independent of God, as if he can hurt you without a Kadosh Baruch Hu signing off on it beforehand. Because no one can hurt you and no one can help you without Hashem himself signing off and allowing it to happen before they even decided to help you. Before Steve decides to help Reuven, a Kadosh Baruch Hu has to decide to help Reuven himself. He has to decide to help Reuven. Why? He says, listen, Reuven did this, this, and this. I'm going to give him a test. Okay, Reuven starts doing tshuva. Oh, Hashem says, look at my son, he's doing tshuva. Okay, so, you know what? I'm going to help him. I'm going to help him. So let's see, out of my 8 billion people in the world, and countless billions of animals, and countless trillions of bugs and plants, and all types of species in the world that we can see and that we can't see, which one of them am I going to use to help Reuven now that he did tshuva? Which one am I going to use? And Hashem selects different creatures, whether it be man, woman, or animal, plant, demon, whatever it may be. He's going to use all types of things in his infinite power to help Reuven. So now if he decides to help him, he says, okay, you know what? Now that I decided to help him, now I'm going to pick the players in this. Steve wants to help somebody. So you know what, Steve? You want to help somebody, it's in your heart to help somebody, you have a given heart. How about this? I'm going to connect you and make a shidduch between you and Reuven. You now want to help somebody, you're going to help Reuven. So Steve never could help Reuven without Hashem already deciding to help Reuven in the first place. The same happens in the opposite way. If Reuven decides to do something that will cause Hashem to say, you know what, I'm going to take some money from you. You did something that, simply put, is either going to cost you your life or money. You wasted seed. You wasted seed. And the Torah says someone that wastes seed is gzar din mavet. It's a death penalty. But since I don't want to kill you, what am I going to do? I'm going to take money from you. I'm going to take money from you. So how am I going to take money from you? I'm going to use something creative. Because Baruch Hu looks at is 8 billion people and billions of animals and all types of trees and demons and angels and so on and so forth, and decides which parts to use to go and take money from Reuven. And he sees, oh, Fred over here. Fred's a thief. He likes stealing. He likes doing bad things. Okay, so you know what, Fred? Knock on Reuven's door and pretend like you're going to sell him something and get him to sign. Get him to sign a contract for $25,000. And simply put, don't deliver on the contract. Disappear to a different country. Reuven all of a sudden says, good morning, Fred. How are you? How are you doing? Yeah, listen, you look representative. You look presentable. You look an honest business person. What can we do together? Oh, listen, I got the best deal in the world. I can sell you X, Y, Z for half the price. But listen, opportunity is only today because I'm leaving the country. Which one? You want to do it or no? No. Don't leave. Hold on a second. I got my checkbook. He writes a check faster than he can blink. Here, 20. Who do I make a payable to? Writes a check for $25,000. Dear Fred, here you go. You're going to give it to me today? No problem. I'm going to email it to you today. You're going to have it before the end of the day. And guess what? Gone. Calls, sorry, disconnected. This guy stole money from me. Wow, I can't believe he did. I'm going to take revenge against him. What are you taking revenge against him? What revenge? HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it. Fred was a tool that he used. To go and want to take revenge against Fred is in essence giving Fred the power as if he's God. And the Sefer HaChinuch writes 700 years ago. He says that is kfirah, heresy. You're giving power to anything other than HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The fact that Fred made a sin, he'll have to pay for the sin. The fact that Steve made a mitzvah, he'll get rewarded for the mitzvah. No problem. The Bet Din of Shamayim gives merit to the ones that are meritorious, that want to do good. Hashem gives them opportunity to do good. The ones that want to do evil, Hashem helps them even do evil. He gives them the opportunity to do evil. They'll get punished or rewarded for it, respectively. But as far as who decided that this evil or this good will happen, it's only Hashem. It's never a person. Hence the reason why we're not allowed to take revenge. Because that's giving him or her the power, not Hashem. And the Sefer HaChinuch says the only thing that a person should do when something bad happened to him is reflect on himself and ask, what is Hashem trying to tell me here? What is Hashem trying to tell me with this loss? What is Hashem trying to tell me with this gain? What is Hashem trying to tell me? Why am I deserving of this pain or perhaps this pleasure? What did I do so I can either repeat it or not repeat it, depending on what it is? And when a person starts to do reflecting on himself, starts internalizing the whole deed, he completely removes the power of people from his life and gives it all to Hashem. Gives it all to Hashem. But if a person does not give all the power to Hashem and he gives it to people, the book of Jeremiah says such a person is Arul. Arul is a person like this. Cursed is a person that trusts in man, puts the confidence in man. This, Rabotai, is critical for a person that is going to live in the world with other people. He's going to live in a world where he's expecting to have a successful life. Because without having some level of Bitachon, a person can simply lose their mind to the point of being like this Reuven from the story that Chazon Ish gave us, where he pretends to have Bitachon, but as soon as his feathers are shaken up a little bit, he can start losing his mind. Now, having Bitachon is something that you can apply in all types of ways. You can apply it in material ways, you can apply it in spiritual ways. Not having Bitachon, obviously, is the same, spiritual or material. In the Sefer Echad Sha'alti by Rav Zilberstein, there's wonderful sheilot and tshuvot there and stories there. And one of the stories I just read is Mamash puts the nail on the head. Masiyat Dishmaya, I just read it over the Shabbat. It just puts the nail on the head of how valuable having Bitachon is, how valuable it is to listen to Chachamim and not to people that are naysayers that don't have Bitachon themselves. How valuable it is to understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that runs the world. And this is what Rav Zilberstein says. In a sefer called Echad Sha'alti, which was also translated to English, and there's wonderful questions in there, Sheilot v'Tshuvot, but also stories in there. And if this story of Bitachon doesn't wake up your neshama, you should check your pulse. Simply put, because it shows a person not only that it's Hashem that runs the world and no one else, but also that no matter how righteous or wicked you are, you're going to have naysayers in the way trying to slow you down because of their own lackings of Bitachon. And furthermore, that if you have emunat chachamim, you have emunah in the Torah and its sages, you simply can't go wrong. And Hashem will show you blessings in unusual ways that you can never think of. Now, there was a person, simple person, that wanted to make aliyah from Morocco to Eretz Yisrael years ago. And he had a so-called friend that told him, listen, what are you going to make aliyah to Eretz Yisrael? You know the people over there are sophisticated. You know over there that they're very learned people. You don't even know how to read and write. How are you going to get a job? And the guy said, listen, but it's a mitzvah to go to Eretz Yisrael. It's a mitzvah to live there. And, Hashem will provide. He goes, well, Hashem provide. You barely have a job over here in Morocco. Over here, we're okay. You go to a faraway land, I don't know, you're putting your life and your family in danger. So the poor guy, thought his friend means well for him, but at the same token, he heard the rabbi said that anyone that can make aliyah should. So he goes to the rabbi. He goes to Rav Meir Abu Chatzira, one of the Gedolei Hador. And he says to him, for the Rav, I want to go to Eretz Yisrael, but I don't know how to read and write. So how can I make a living in Eretz Yisrael if I don't know how to read and write? Rav Abu Chatzira says to him this. He says, Bnei Yakar, my dear son, HaKadosh Baruch Hu feeds the animals and they don't know how to read and write. You think he's not going to feed you? You go to Eretz Yisrael, you go live over there, and Dafka Hashem is going to feed you because you don't know how to read and write. Specifically because of that. The guy was a simple person, Baruch Hashem, had simple emunat chachamim. It's better to be tamim with Hashem than to be one of these people that wants explanation for everything. Tamim with Hashem means complete. Noach ish tzaddik tamim bedorotav. Noach was special not only because he was tzaddik, but he was tamim. Tamim means whatever Hashem said, he did. No questions asked. You're never going to see a question in Parashat Noach, oh, but Hashem, why? There's no why. Hashem, you said to do it, I'm going to do it. So this poor Moroccan decides, okay, the Rav says, go make Aliyah, everything's going to be okay. He makes Aliyah, he goes to Eretz Yisrael. He gets to Eretz Yisrael, needs to make Parnasah. So he goes to the employment office, and he waits online, the poor guy waits online. Eventually they call him, and he says, yeah, he talks to her in a language that barely is understandable, but he talks. He says, yeah, I need to get a job, and I need to do this. Okay, fine. Oh, and I don't know how to read. She looks at it, oh, okay. The second it came out of his mouth, he was upset. He goes, why did I have to tell her I don't know how to read? Maybe I could have gotten a job, but does I need it? Why did I do that? Why did I have to mention I don't know how to read? So the guy says, okay, thank you. He gives her the phone number. She writes the phone number because he doesn't know how to write either, and he leaves. The whole way home, he's upset at himself for blurting out these extra few words that he doesn't know how to read. The next day, he gets a call. Hello? Yes. Hi, Mr. Bitachon. Yeah. Okay, listen, you got to show up to the office over here. We have an opportunity for you. Where? Gives him the address. Okay. He goes to the place. Big building. Goes inside. He sees some other people there. Not many. And he says, okay, somebody will be with you soon. He starts waiting over there. And little by little, the room empties out. People go to their appointments. People go to their place. And he's left alone in the place. Him, some magazines, and some chairs. He's sitting over there. A half hour, 40 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. After 2.5 hours, he's so bored, he picks up one of the magazines. A few minutes later, he puts it down. He waits. 3 hours he's in the office. He's about to get up. Somebody comes out of the office. Oh, Mr. Bitachon, come. Okay, he comes into the office, about to leave. 3 hours waiting. What kind of appointment is this? You should have told me 3 hours today. Now, it was a different day already. 3 hours. Comes in. Yes. Okay, Mr. Bitachon, you got the job. What goes? You didn't even interview. Oh, no, you got the job. What do I need to do? You need to take the papers that we give you and put them through this shredding machine. That's it. And we're going to pay you this salary. More money than any of his friends are making. Back in Morocco or in Israel. This guy is like, Baruch Hashem ishtabach shimo. I got the job. He's happy you could be. Here you go. You have to take some pictures. Here's the tag. Oh, wow. Who's this for? The weapons department of the Defense Force of Israel. That's the job. What happened here? While he was waiting, he didn't realize in the beginning, that he was being tested. Not just by Kadosh Baruch Hu. He was being tested by the employment office. He was being tested by the government. They wanted to see if he can read or not. If he really can't read or he just said it. Why? Because they want him to take all of the secret files, all of the files that no one's allowed to see other than specific people, and to shred them. Now, if he can read, he can be privy to all the secrets of the government. That's a problem. So they had to make sure he can't read. So they left him in the room for 3 hours just to see if he's going to pick up one of the magazines and read it. So how do they know for sure he can't read? Because they saw that finally after 2.5 hours when he picked up the magazine, he was looking at it backwards. He said, you got the job. You got the job. He worked there for years, made a decent living, did okay. Eventually he said, okay, it's time for me to retire. Been here for 25 years, go on a pension. A few months after his pension, the Defense Force calls him back and says, Mr. Bitachon, we need you back. No, I'm on retirement. Listen, we'll pay you retirement and an additional salary, just come back. Why? You can't find nobody else? He says, we can't find anybody else that doesn't know how to read. Just like the Rab says, just like Rabbi Buchatzira says, not only HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to feed you Because he feeds the animals, they don't know how to eat, he feeds them. Not only is the Kadosh Baruch Hu going to feed you, but because you have Bitachon in him, to go all the way to Eretz Yisrael, he's going to feed you Dafka, because you don't know how to read. He's going to feed you because of that. That's how he's going to feed you. He's going to use the tool that you thought is a lackings, he's going to use it as a blessing. This, Rabotai, is a true story that happens every day in life. Every single day. But what happens is that sometimes, instead of listening to Chachamim, we listen to naysayers. We listen to people that don't have Bitachon. We listen to all types of people that they themselves have a problem, and they pretty much share their problem with you because they don't like that you have Bitachon. And this unfortunately happens every single day. Now, in the parasha that we have, we see last week, Parashat Vayetze, we see that Yaakov Avinu portrays the highest level of bitachon humanly possible. Humanly possible. How do we know that Yaakov Avinu had an enormous amount of bitachon? First, he leaves his mother's house. He goes to YESHIVA. He goes of Shem and Evel for 14 years. Learns Torah, goes to Laban's house. Meets his wife of the future, meets Rachel, only to marry her sister. Yeah. Why? Because their father is a liar. They were both twins. They were both the same age. But Leah was considered your firstborn. And Laban says, no, there's no way, even though we made a deal, even though I said this, I didn't really mean it because over here, it's not done this way. Bottom line is, you have to marry this one. Even if you didn't want to, even if you did, you already realized after the fact. So everybody knows that story. And everybody knows that Yaakov Avinu took her, married her, and then ended up working another 7 years to get to Rachel. Some say that he ended up marrying her right away and ended up working 7 years for that and didn't have to wait. Some say that he had the other way where he had to wait 7 years to marry. Either way, point is that we see that Yaakov Avinu is already stuck at Lavan's company for 14 years. After he wants to leave, he says, no, why don't you work for me for longer? So Yaakov says, okay, fine, if I work for you for longer. I've been here for 14 years. I need to make a better living. I need to make a better contract. Lavan says, no problem. Tell me your price and I'll pay you. Yaakov Avinu works for another 6 years. They make a deal and Lavan changes the deal 100 times, the Midrash says. 100 times he changes the deal. 100 times. But after the fact. He says, listen, every sheep that has stripes is going to be mine. Everyone that's yours, doesn't have it, is yours. Okay, so Hashem makes a miracle. Everyone's born like a zebra. Lavan shows up, no. I didn't mean stripes. I meant circles. Oh, circles? Okay. Now, everyone from now on, everyone has circles is mine. Everyone that has no circles is yours. Yeah, okay, fine. But Kadosh Baruch Hu makes a miracle. Everybody's born like a big circle. No, I didn't mean circles. I meant stripe and circle. And he changed the deal 100 times. 100 times. And he still works there for another 6 years. After being there for 20 years, the Torah Kedusha tells us that Yaakov was blessed to become rich, me'od, very, very wealthy, very, very rich, and all of a sudden, Lavan's kids start saying, this Yaakov, he's a thief. Yaakov came over here in our backyard, opened a store next to our father. Surely he's not an honest person. Surely he stole some. Surely he painted some. Surely he did some other things. And Lavan is a criminal anyway. He says, yeah, see, I knew you guys would understand. So everybody now is against Yaakov. Yaakov sees, okay, this is not a good place for me. Everyone is changing their... After I made everybody rich, they didn't complain. Finally, I started making some money. All of a sudden, they're complaining. It's time for us to go. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him, it's time to go. He says, okay, now it's a mitzvah to go. Not only it's good to go, now it's a mitzvah to go. Hashem says to go. And then the Torah Kedusha says that he calls his wives and he tells them, it's time for us to leave. And as you know, the faces of your father and your brothers have changed. They're saying bad things about me, and you all know that I worked really hard. And what you may not know is that your father changed the deal on me 100 times. So now I asked the question years ago. Rachel and Leah grew up in Lavan's house. They knew he's a criminal. Everybody knew he's a criminal, even the people that didn't live there. The only reason why Esau didn't come and get Yaakov, despite all of his hatred, is because he knew how much of a criminal Lavan is. So why didn't he come and attack him? Because Lavan would kill him too. So Esau was scared too. Everybody knew he's a criminal. Rachel told Yaakov, the Midrash says. Rachel told Yaakov on day one that her father's a criminal. That's why Yaakov says, I'm Lavan's brother. He's not Lavan's brother. He's his sister's son. What brother? No. If he wants to be criminal, I'll be his brother. I'll be a criminal too. I can talk to him that way. Whatever language, I'll be on the same level as him. So how come he tells his daughters that lived in his house that their father's a criminal? What, they don't know? This is what Bitachon is in real life. Yaakov knew that the father is a criminal. He knew that his daughters knew that their father's a criminal. He knew. But he also knew that finding out that their father is hurting him, is not going to do any good. All it's going to do is create tension. All it's going to do is create all types of fighting. For what purpose is it going to serve? So for 20 years, he never complained a single word. Which means that Rachel and Leah never knew that Lavan was cheating their own husband for 20 years. That's why he says it now. 20 years he's sitting there, he's working. They know he's working hard. They know that the whole marriage thing happened. But as far as money, I started to figure at least he's making a living. 20 years he's cheating them. 20 years he keeps his mouth shut. Why? He knows the parnasai from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yaakov knows the parnasai from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu rewards him specifically because of that. Because he knew that parnasai comes from him. Now, on the other hand, we see that there's a slip-up. There's a slip-up that follows this. Now, we can't say that the Avot didn't have Bitachon Chas v'Shalom. We can't say there's anything lacking. But we see that there is a slip-up here. The Chachamim tells us a slip-up. What's the slip-up? After they all leave, Lavan chases them. And Hashem warns Lavan, don't touch Yaakov. You could talk to him, but don't touch him. So Lavan comes and he says, listen, why'd you run away? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? And by the way, why'd you steal my gods? His gods are the type of gods you can steal. I don't know what kind of powerful god this is. You can steal him. But anyway, his gods you can steal him. Who stole him? Rachel stole him. Rachel stole because she didn't want her father to be an idol worshiper. So she stole his gods. ותגנוב רחל את התרפים אשר לאביה. Now, here's the slip up. Yaakov says, אם אשר תמצא את אלוהיך, לא יחיה נגד אחינו. If from wherever you find your gods, he shall not live. Wherever you find your gods, whoever possesses your gods, he's not going to live. Who took the gods? Rachel. And Rashi says, this is the reason why Rachel died shortly later at a young age of 37 years old. The question is, somebody brought, fantastic question. Yaakov really said over here, if Lavan finds who stole it, finds the person that stole it, he shouldn't live. Right? Lavan didn't find anything. It says specifically, Lavan didn't find anything. So why did Rachel die anyway? So I had this insight, and then I verified it with none other. Or Chaim HaKadosh already said it many, many years before I was even a thought. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Shekivanti. So Onkelos first starts with the Targum saying that Yaakov, when he says, whoever you find this shall not live, he's not cursing. He's not cursing. What is he saying? He's saying, whoever stole this idols from you, surely is an idol worshipper, and therefore I have to destroy him. Yaakov himself has to destroy idolatry. But then comes Or Chaim HaKadosh and gives an elaboration. He says, not only did Yaakov Avinu did not curse, but rather he was stating a reality that is, everyone right now is a Noahide. Yaakov, Leah, Sarah, everyone is a Noahite. And we all know that we have Sheva mitzvot b'nei Noach. We have 7 laws of the Noahites. Idolatry is a violation of the Noahide laws. Stealing is a violation of the Noahide laws. What's the punishment? Gemara Masechet Sanhedrin, page 56b and 57a says, death penalty for all Noahide violations. Anyone that violates the 7 Noahide laws, doesn't matter, it's idolatry, or it's not having a court system, or it's stealing. It's always death penalty for a Noahide, because they have less laws than the Jews, therefore their punishment is more severe. Jews, if he steals and he gets caught, he has to pay double. A Noahide steals is a death penalty by heaven. No one kills him, but by heaven they kill. Hashem cuts his life short. So, Onkelos already told us that Yaakov is not cursing, he's stating a fact. Or Chaim says, what's that fact? That fact is, anyone that stole these idols, if he stole them, that's a death penalty. It's a death penalty. If he took them for the sake of, let's say, a mitzvah of idol worship, it's also death penalty. So it's not that I'm cursing anyone. I'm stating a fact. Whoever has these idols, whether it's you, Lavan, or anybody here, for sure Hashem is going to kill him. And that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. Even though Rachel did not mean to do evil, she did not mean to do bad, she took the law in her hands. And she took these idols, which in essence, she stole them. She stole the idol. Noahide law said that stealing is death penalty. Death penalty. You see, Rabotai, Rachel was Kodesh Kodashim. Kodesh Kodashim. Yaakov Avinu, Kodesh Kodashim. Leah, Kodesh Kodashim. Everybody's amazing. But that doesn't mean that the Torah doesn't highlight some of the errors that the Most Holy made. Sometimes they make errors, but we learn from them. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu judges the righteous even more stringently than the ones that are not. Needless to say, a person that wants to emulate the righteous by having Bitachon, like Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Rachel, Leah, Sarah, Rivka, all of the wonderful people that we had that were connected to Baruch Hashem. Surely HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not going to judge us like he does them. We're not in their level. But he still expects us to aim to have their good traits. He's not going to expect us to deal with such a severe punishment like what Rachel dealt with. But he is going to expect us to do what Yaakov did and keep our mouth shut even though someone is cheating us, even though someone is taking from us, and not do something that's against the Torah. You want to take him to the Beit Din? Take him to the Beit Din. No problem. That's allowed. It's a mitzvah. You want to warn people after the Beit Din says this person is dangerous? No problem. You want to do things that are in accordance with the Torah? No problem. But you can't take the law into your hands. Why? You take the law into your hands, HaKadosh Baruch Hu punishes for that. This is where Bitachon comes in. Because sometimes you see that taking the law into your hands makes more sense in your mind than listening to the Torah. But that's where also Bitachon comes in. Sometimes you have to understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is letting the evil do evil for specific reasons. And you have to simply understand that Hashem knows this is happening too. He knows this is happening too. And He allows it to happen. And He's going to take care of it at some point. On the other hand, sometimes you see good things happening and you don't really understand the reason. Usually you don't ask so much questions when good things are happening to you, even though you don't think you deserve it. The truth be told, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu also is monitoring it. And He sees what's happening. To have this simple belief in Hashem pays an exponential dividend. Even if a person is not as righteous as he would like to be, or he should be, HaKadosh Baruch Hu pays that simple type of emunah huge rewards. One of my Talmidim, by the name of Yeshua, and his dear wife Ariela, they told me a wonderful story. And when they first got married, they decided to go to Eretz Yisrael for a vacation for almost a month. They went over there, they explored the land, they had a good time. Before they went, their next door neighbor, which they didn't really know too well, found out that they were going to Eretz Yisrael and said, listen, can you do us a favor? Can you take this note and put it into Kotel Ma'aravi? I want to have a blessing. I want to put it in the Kotel Ma'aravi. And Yeshua tells me, I didn't even know these people were religious at all, but said, why not? Sure. Doesn't cost me anything. So I took their note and I said, okay, I'll put it at the Kotel. I'll put it at the Western Wall. They went to the Western Wall. They went all over Eretz Yisrael and so on and so forth. They had a good time. And their last night there, they went to the Kotel. They prayed there for half hour or so. And I said, okay, you know what? Let's just walk back to the apartment that we're staying in to enjoy the view. They walk back to the apartment and they start getting their luggage together. As he takes his pants off and everything else, he sees as a note comes out of his pocket. And what note is this? The note that he got from that couple in America that he was supposed to put in the kotel, but he forgot about it completely. It's like, oh man, what am I going to do? I have this note. We're really supposed to leave by tomorrow in the morning. And now to go to the kotel, it's night. What are we going to do? Maybe we should just pray Tehillim for them. And that's enough. They're not going to know anyway. They're not going to know if you don't put the note there. It's not like you get a text message from the kotel and somebody put a note on your behalf. So they're not going to know. Maybe we should just pray for them. A prayer is a prayer. Maybe we should go. Maybe we should take a cab. Maybe this, maybe that. Yeshua says to his wife, you know what? Let's just walk there. We're already here. How many times are we going to go to the kotel anyway? Let's walk back. Half-hour walk. 40-minute walk. They walk back at night all the way back to the kotel. He says, you know what? Since we're already here, let's pray again. She goes to the woman's side. He goes to the men's side. They go pray. And they finish praying. He puts the note. He's about to leave. But all of a sudden he hears somebody say, hey, Mari, who wants to play Mari? We need minyan. They're looking for 10 people to pray. So he said, you know what? Let me pray too. Why not play with minyan at the kotel? So he comes over there. They get together. Only 8 people. So they're still looking for 2 people. Looking. All of a sudden, these 2 people come and said, no, come with us. No, but we're 2. You're 2. Well, we're 8. They debate a little bit and say, no, come on. Yeshua says, let's just go with the 2 people. You know, the guy is an older man. Let's just go with him. He doesn't know who this old man is, but they follow him. Long story short, they start praying. And who was the chazan? The old man. Now, Arvit, Mariv, it's typically the quickest prayer of the day. And it's very easy to lose your kavanah and even the reason why you've been praying. Not that day. That night, the chazan, that old man, starts praying, and every word that comes out of his mouth comes with tears. He starts crying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with every word that comes out of his mouth. Shema! Israel, Hashem, and he cries. Yeshua says, I never saw anything like this. I said, first of all, my first thing in my mind, he said, I don't know, I thought myself, I'm going to be here for 5 years. So at the time this guy finishes Shema Yisrael, I'm already going to have to say Shema Yisrael for my last Kaddish. What's going on? But he starts seeing the emotion. He's like, wow, this is pretty amazing though. In the beginning, you're like taking back, who's this guy is praying like this? But then you start seeing the tears, and it's real. And you get emotionally attached to it. It's like, wow, this is really inspiring. I wish I prayed like this. I wish I prayed with somebody like this tzaddik over here. Who is this tzaddik? So he asks somebody next to him, who is he? The guy looks and goes, what? You don't know who that is? The guy's, shh, tell you after. I just want to disturb the prayer. Okay. The whole time, the old man is praying, crying hysterical to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, listen to our prayers. Aneni Hashem, Aneni. They finish the prayer. Suddenly, everybody that's there in the kotel that night swarms around this Rav. Kvod Rav, please give us bracha, give us bracha, give us bracha. Yeshua has no clue. Why is everybody, who is this guy? So he asks one of the people, please, who is this? Another guy looks at him, what do you mean? You don't know who that is? A car shows up, he goes in, out as quickly as he came in, and then finally Yeshua gets an answer. Who is that? The guy says to him, that's Rav Yaakov Adis. He's one of the biggest rabbis in the world. He comes from a family of Gdolim Tzadikim for hundreds of years. He's the guy that you see crying at the Kotel all the time. At the Levaya of Rav Ovadia, he's the one that cried hysterical and the whole world cried with him. That's Rav Yaakov Adis, a huge mekubal, enormous Talmid Chacham, and he himself said, if you want miracles in your life, you have to fight Christianity. I heard him say myself. You want miracles in your life? Fight Christianity. Why is the idolatry? He himself wrote a book, sent it to the Pope, and that was the Pope that was the only Pope in history that recused himself, quit. No Pope in history ever quit until that Pope, and the story goes from Rav Adis, it's because of the book that he sent him. So now Yeshua comes to his wife, says, where you been? He says, you're never going to believe. He tells her the whole story, what happened, where he was, amazing. He's baffled by the whole thing. I just prayed with this tzaddik. BeEzrat Hashem, our prayers would be accepted. That's why Hashem wanted us to come back here to return the note so I could pray with him and this and that. He's excited. They're both excited. They go back home. Almost a year passes and they want to go back to Eretz Yisrael. And the neighbor says to them, I heard you're going. Can I give you a note? Yeah, sure, why not? And the neighbor, again, not exactly, doesn't look the most religious. But he tells Yeshua, he goes, you know these things work, right? He says, sure, yeah, it's praying. He goes, no, they work. But what do you mean? He said, we gave you a note almost a year ago. At that time, we didn't have much, but we wanted to buy this apartment that we live in. But since we didn't have much, we offered pretty much as we had, which was a low ball. He wanted 500, we offered 350, 300, which is a ridiculous price. And in the note, what we write? We wrote, Hashem, please Hashem, answer our prayers, have him accept this offer and give us the ability to buy this place. And that's exactly what happened. The guy accepted an offer nobody in their right mind will ever accept. And it works. So now Yeshua and his wife Ariella says, what's the reason that HaKadosh Baruch Hu accepted the prayer? Did he accept the prayer because the tzaddik Rabbi Yaakov Adis was there praying, Aneni HaKadosh Baruch Hu Aneni? Did he pray? Did he bless us and give us this blessing for these couple because we were at the Kotel? What did he do? Why? Yeshua says, my wife and I thought about this for a while and we concluded. What's the conclusion? The tzaddik is Kodesh Kodashim. The Kotel is Kodesh Kodashim. But it cannot be that it's because of the tzaddik. Because what if I pray without the tzaddik? Now Hashem is not going to listen to me. It cannot be just because of the Kotel. Because what if I pray in America? Well, Hashem is not going to listen to me. So it has to be a reason that's always possible. What's possible? Mesirut Nefesh. Sacrificing for the sake of a mitzvah. Showing HaKadosh Baruch Hu we believe in him and believe. How do we show Hashem we believe in him and we trust him and we have Bitachon in him? By sacrificing for the sake of doing the mitzvah. We said, you know what? We could have not put the note. We could have just prayed for him otherwise. He would have never known. But you know what? Let's go back. Let's walk 40 minutes each way at night just to go do the favor for this guy in America that he would never know that whether we did it for him or not. We made a sacrifice. We did what's called Mesirut Nefesh. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says Mesirut Nefesh is available everywhere. And it's the number one way to show that you have Bitachon BeHashem. Because when you have Bitachon BeHashem, you can't just say, I have Bitachon. Because Reuven over here says he has Bitachon. Reuven says he has Bitachon, and when the competition shows up, Babke shows up. Nothing. You have to show HaKadosh Baruch Hu you have Bitachon. How? You make sacrifices. You make sacrifices for the name of Hashem. You make sacrifices for the mitzvot. You make sacrifices for His Torah. You exert yourself beyond your nature. And as the Chachamim tell us, someone that exerts himself beyond his nature, HaKadosh Baruch Hu in essence exerts himself beyond his nature. What is this like? Last thing, and then I'll let you all go. we see that there is a Mishnah in Avot, in the beginning, first chapter, says that you should not serve the master for the sake of a reward. But then the Gemara, you go through the Shas, and you see many Chachamim did exactly that. They served Hashem specifically because they wanted something. So how could the Mishnah say, don't serve the master for the sake of a reward, while at the same time, some of the biggest Gdolei Olam, today and in the past years, have served Hashem specifically because they wanted specific reward, a specific prayer answered, and so on. So Rabbi Ovadia Alav Shalom writes in his commentary on the Mishnayot, and he says, if a person is serving Hashem simply what he's obligated to do, he cannot do that for the sake of a reward. Well, you're obligated to do that. You cannot say, oh, because I kept Shabbat, therefore I deserve an extra reward. Because I did Shema Yisrael, therefore you're obligated to do it. The king said so. You cannot say that because you did Shema Yisrael, or because you ate kosher, or because you kept Shabbat, therefore you deserve an extra reward. So how could they ask for extra reward? How could they ask for a reward at all? Rabbi Ovadia says, when you do something that's beyond your nature, that's hard for you to do, it's hard for you to keep Shabbat in the beginning. Why? All your friends are going to a soccer game. It's hard for you to say Kriyat Shema. Why? You want to watch TV instead. It's hard for you to protect your BEIT. Why? Because you're addicted to not protecting it. It's hard for you to do the mitzvot in the beginning, and you do them, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you extra blessings in the beginning, much more than he does normally to other people that are religious their whole life. Why? Because in the beginning it's hard for you to do the mitzvot. You're almost set nefesh for the mitzvot. Your tshuva is completely missing with nefesh. It's all sacrifices. Therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu answers your prayers much more than he would, let's say, 20 years from now in the same fashion. Now you want, in the beginning it's hard for you. Later on, it becomes easy for you. Shema Yisrael, you're used to it already. Praying every day, you're used to it already. Shabbat, you're used to it already. But you still want HaKadosh Baruch Hu to answer your prayers. You want him to cure the ill. You want him to give parnasah to the poor, and so on and so forth. You want your prayers to be answered. Ovadia says, now you have to do above and beyond. Above and beyond your norm. You were used to learning an hour a day. Push yourself for 2 hours. You're used to keeping Shabbat minimum. Now make the Shabbat not only holy, but beautiful. Beautiful dishes, beautiful table, beautiful preparation. Beautify the Shabbat. Oneg Shabbat. Whatever you're doing, do more. Do beyond your nature. When you do beyond your nature, Rabbi Ovadia says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will act beyond nature for you. And that, Rabotai, is not only good for you because you get your blessings answered, but also it's a perfect way to show Hashem that you have Bitachon in him. Not just Bitachon, that he runs the world, but rather that he answers the prayers if we follow the instructions. That he is the only one that can answer the prayers and cure the ill and feed the poor and do everything. When you do beyond your nature, when you're MUSSAR nefesh for his mitzvot, you make sacrifice for his mitzvot, you are showing the best example in the world that you know for sure that he is the only answer. Not Steve, not Joe, not Bill Gates, not Donnie, and not Trumpy. Nobody can give you answers to your prayers. Only HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How do you show it to him? By being a MUSSAR nefesh, a sacrifice for his mitzvot. You try harder, you do better, you push more, especially the things that are hard for you. When you do that, you not only show Hashem that you have emunah in him, but you show you have bitachon in him. And thereby, you'll never be like this Reuven that said he has bitachon, but didn't really have it. Because he just said it with words. When you're pushing yourself from mitzvot, you're not saying it with words. You're doing it with actions. You're fulfilling the Torah. You're doing it with actions. You're pushing yourself with actions. You're already building the yeshiva without even knowing how you're going to pay for the whole thing. I just have enough money. to build a foundation. What about the rest of it? HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me money for the foundation, I'll buy the foundation. What after? When after arrives, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give you whatever it is. You already start doing the mitzvot. You do beyond what you need to do. Why? Because you're showing HaKadosh Baruch Hu, listen, Hashem, I'm doing what you want me to do beyond my nature. It's hard for me to do all this, but I'm going to do it. Why? I love you, I believe in you, and I have confidence in you. This, Rabotai Yekarim, is a blessing that a person can give themselves day and night, give their family day and night, and simply live a life like you're an angel among men. Because most people around you are struggling. Most people around you are suffering. Most people around you are so busy, hating everything that's in their way, hating all competition, hating everything that's, stirring up their pie, that they forget that it's Hashem that's running the world. And that's the problem, Rabotai. We have this throughout all of history. Throughout all of history, we've had people that lacked Bitachon themselves, but if that wasn't bad enough, they justified their evil actions as a result of it. The Gemara in Masechet Yomah has a Kohen Gadol. A Kohen Gadol that was a ignoramus. He was only Kohen Gadol because he was in line. And the Gemara in Masechet Yomah, page 71b, says that this Kohen Gadol, they would give him respect, but as soon as Shmaya and Naftalion, the two Gdolei Ador, they showed up, all the people left this Kohen Gadol, and they went to Shmaya and Naftalion. So this Kohen Gadol that was an ignoramus, didn't have Bitachon, didn't have Emunah, didn't have anything, didn't have Torah, nothing. He didn't like it. Why? He said, no, I'm a Kohen Gadol, I should get respect just because. It doesn't work that way. When you have Torah, you deserve respect. You just have a position because your father is somebody or your mother is somebody, doesn't mean anything. So what did he do? This Rasha, he insulted Shmaya and Naftalion. He said to them, you're like people of the nations, because Shmaya and Naftalion were both converts. So he says to them, Amar lahem, Itul b'nei amamin le'shlam. He says, may the descendants of the nations come in peace. He says, you guys are goyim, so may all the goyim come like you. May all the Gentiles come like you, be in peace. Reminding them that they're converts. But the tzaddikim Shmaya and Naftalion says they say to hang back with their sharp tongue instantly, says, better should they come in peace, the descendants of the nations, meaning better that all the nations convert and become tzaddikim and follow the way of Torah, then they shall not come in peace as descendants of Aaron, who does not practice the practice of Aaron. It's better that a convert come, tzaddik, kadosh, following the Torah, than someone that is just playing like he's connected to Aaron without following what Aaron did. You see, Rabotai, a lot of people may look the part, may act a certain way and so on, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what's in your heart. When you have Bitachon, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to test you with certain things. He's going to put you next to the fire a little bit to see what you do, to see how you do. When you pass that test, you graduate a class, you get to the next class. You go into the next class, and the next class, and the next class. But that means that every class you're going to be surrounded by other people that are the exact opposite of you. They don't have Bitachon, but they pretend like they do. You have Bitachon, but you don't have to pretend nothing. You just simply live your life. You have to know how to deal with those people. Those people are going to try to cool you off. Those people are going to try to go against you. Those people are going to try to ruin your party, if you will. You have to understand. The only solution to everything is our Holy Torah. Our Holy Torah has all the answers in the world. You listen to our Holy Torah, you listen to the Chachamim, you'll be an angel among men. You'll be an angel among men. You'll have tests, but you'll know what to do and how to pass them. Whereas a person that does not, a person that just simply takes matters into their own hands, they end up like this Reuven, that pretended that he has Bitachon, but in reality at the end ended up becoming a gangster, ended up becoming a big criminal in the open. We don't want to be like this person. We want to be like the righteous Reuven. We want to be like the righteous Shimon. We want to be like Yaakov Avinu. We want to be like Avraham Avinu. It's not going to come easy. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with us. BeEzrat Hashem, We will continue learning on Tuesday night. We have our Ikrita de Mashiach series, our Era of Mashiach series based on Rav Wassam and Sefer. In the meantime, I highly recommend anyone that is not downloaded our app to download the app. There's a lot of upgrades there. It's the BeEzrat Hashem app. You just type in BeEzrat Hashem, BeEzrat HASHEM on either Google Android or the Apple iOS. You'll download our app. You'll be able to see all of our lectures. We also have a new feature on top that gives you the lectures about Hanukkah, since Hanukkah is coming up, the weekly parasha, since the weekly parasha changes every week, and obviously the most recent lectures and clips and so on, so you can be kept up to date. Highly recommend to download it because that's the least distracting way to learn Torah from our shiurim, because when you have it, whether it be Facebook or YouTube or anything else, the Yetzer Hara has different tools to interfere. In our app, Baruch Hashem, it's Yetzer Hara free. Yetzer Hara free, Baruch Hashem. So, BeEzrat Hashem, more of you subscribe, more of you support, more of you get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and BeEzrat Hashem, we continue to learn together next on Tuesday night. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen ve'Amen.
Baruch Hashem, we've completed another year at BeEzrat Hashem. Rabbi Ephraim and I are very proud to announce some major milestones that we've achieved, BeEzrat Hashem, and with your help, our dear partners. Over 60 million minutes of our Torah has been watched over the last year. That's 1 million hours of Torah to help people do tshuva and get closer to Hashem. Over 300,000 CDs have been distributed around the world for free. We've also made over 1,000 lectures between the two of us, as well as also with Rav Chaim being added to the roster. Over 60,000 regular viewers are watching our Torah right now across the board. Over 200,000 answers regarding halacha, family, shlom bayit, different topics on a regular basis being given to people. Over 10,000 people have been helped, whether it's for food or different financial issues. 1,000 families of Torah scholars are being helped by Irgun BeEzrat Hashem. We've published and distributed over 5,000 halachic books, kuntreses, newsletters, MUSSAR books around the world. We are also currently helping over 130 families complete their conversion to Orthodox Judaism. Our TV channel continues to grow, our YouTube channel, our Facebook pages, our WhatsApp pages, everything continues to grow, Baruch Hashem. Thanks to Hashem and thanks to our dear partners. BeEzrat Hashem, much more next year. B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach, we're very excited to offer you the new BeEzrat Hashem app 3.0. It's a newer, faster app full of Torah, lots of Kedusha by the shiurim that we do, myself, Rabbi Ephraim, Rav Chaim, where you'll have also newer features where you're able to use the app while you're using other applications on your phone. You'll be able to share the lectures directly from the app. You'll be able to donate online and support our KIRUV and our Torah work that we're doing. And the most exciting feature is that you'll be able to actually ask questions directly on the app and get answers from the rabbis directly from the app. This is something unprecedented, and Baruch Hashem will be able to offer it. Thank you again for all of your support. Check it out. Make sure you have the kosher Torah that will re-energize your neshama each and every single day. Call to B'chava Tzlacha.